Today's episode is brought to you by Fretboard Biology, the comprehensive online guitar course put together by Joe Elliott. Now, Joe is not only a fantastic guitar player, he draws on his years of experience as the ex-head of guitar at the Guitar Institute of Technology and also at the McNally Smith Music College. Here's a few words from Joe about the course.
If you're tired of wading through hundreds of random guitar videos and just want to become a better player, Fretboard Biology is your answer. Fretboard Biology is a self-paced, college-level program that'll give you the right instruction, in the right amounts, and in the right order. You'll learn the same information I taught to thousands of other guitar players over 30 years of teaching in top music colleges. If you want to make real progress with your guitar playing, then sign up for a free 7-day trial at fretboardbiology.com.
Hi there, you are listening to the Guitar Speak podcast. My name's Matt Wakeling and this is the show that I produce in Sydney, Australia. Thank you so much for joining me for episode number 220. Now today I am joined by Prashant Aswani, incredible solo artist, producer, collaborator and sideman to people such as Justin Timberlake, Greg Howe, Herbie Hancock, just to name a few. Now today, Prashant joins me to talk about his fantastic new Charvel signature model, the PA28. It's a super cool guitar, so it was fun to talk about that and some of the stuff that Prashant has got on the boil in 2023. Hey, my thanks to Jack from Fender Australia and Alex and Michael from Fender USA who helped organise this interview. All right, let's jump straight into the conversation. Prashant Aswani, welcome to the Guitar Speak podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Matt.
It's great to have you on. I've got to say straight out, congratulations on the signature Charvel, the SoCal, the Pro Mod, the PA28. It's got to be super exciting having your signature Charvel released after what's been a long process.
Yeah, I don't know if it's completely hit me yet, but I've been getting tagged and pinged with people already that have received the guitars and they seem to be very happy with them. And I think it's starting to settle in that, it's out, Yeah. I mean, it has been a long process, but, I think with anything, having some time intervals in between designing and kind of, putting something together, speccing things out is good because it allowed me to have an opportunity to maybe change my mind or roll with something a little bit further, so.
Sure. When did you start playing Charvels? When was your association with them?
Well, I started playing Charvels in 2018. I think when the DK 2 points came out, they had just gotten released in that summer, and I got one before they dropped in the Summer NAMM, and man, I fell in love with the guitar like pretty instantly. Actually, I was quite surprised because I've played all kinds of things, guitars in my life, and I think I was very surprised at how good it played and how good it sounded, and the fact that it was like $1,000 and made in Mexico. I didn't quite understand it because I've always had custom shop, kind of unobtainable instruments for the duration of my career, and I didn't, initially make any modifications on it. I just played it as is for a while. And I it was really surprising. So, and then I got a follow up made in Mexico model. I actually intentionally wanted to see how these inexpensive models would play. So even though I had the option to get custom shops and USA or whatever, I was more curious to see this bridge combination sounds great. Let me try a DK with the Floyd. And so I got a DK with the Floyd from Mexico, and that was great. And then I got a fixed bridge DK. It was all 24 fret guitars initially. I think, it was all 24 fret guitars initially that I wanted to see how they played and felt. But even though I was grabbing the 24 fret guitars, I was already inclined, I think, from years past to maybe gravitate towards 22 frets, because I liked the bridge positioning. I liked how the neck pickup and bridge pickup were spread out. I just preferred certain playing aspects of a 22 fret. I started out, my career with 24 frets, but then I think probably maybe 5 years before I started playing Charvels, I was really kind of interested in 22.
Yeah. Okay. I'm with you, by the way. That's I reckon just the right number. That's perfect. What's the process then of creating the signature model? So you've got a couple of quirks already outside of the DKs. How does that come about?
Yeah. Well, that wasn't really something I had in mind or really, really paid attention to. Or have, I've been offered that type of thing in the past. And I'm a fan of playing a lot of different guitars. I get inspired, I don't want to change strings sometimes. So I just grab another guitar. And plus, going from, a Tele to a Strat or, or any sort of combination of instrument, it has a different sound, right? And so like recording primarily in the studio I found it nice to be able to have that option. And so like, I always thought in the back of my mind, I don't know if I want a signature guitar, because then I really got to play it. And if you've watched anything in the past 20 years with me, you'll rarely see me with the same guitar,
That's right.
in two videos, right? It's rarely, right? And so I never even thought about having one. It wasn't even really necessarily wasn't even in my mind really. And then after a leg of shows, like one show, Mike Tempesto was at a show and in Los Angeles at the Baked Potato, and after the show, he's like, "Dude, we got to do a signature." And it was kind of cool to hear, and then it was like it became kind of real, right? And I wanted it to be a made in Mexico, not a limited edition like USA, because I noticed when playing the MIMs and interacting with my fan base and just people in general, like on social media, I noticed there was a lot of we could connect, because I had a guitar that anybody could buy, and that a bunch of other people had, and I played in a certain way and they'd appreciate that. And we'd have dialogue, or I'd do some modifications or some tweaks and I'd share about it, so like it was a really cool way to connect that I hadn't necessarily been able to do in previous ever, really, because I've always played custom shop really instruments. Yeah, and so I was, when I was approached with the idea to do a signature, I definitely wanted it to be made in Mexico. Because that connectivity with just like all of us, regular folks being able to afford a guitar and talk about it and create music with was exciting for me. That was exciting for me.
That's awesome. There's some very cool features on the guitar. I'd like to talk about the pickups to start with. Often there's a standard range of pickups that a lot of Charvels see, but you got to design your own range, the PA28 pickups. Can you tell me about that process?
Yeah, for sure. So, when it came time, the guitar was pretty much designed, and, it came time to talk about pickups. I have a signature set of pickups that with another company that are cool, but we came up with such a cool set of features on this guitar that I really wanted something unique. And I didn't want to just jump into a mainstream brand, because I knew what I wanted in terms of spec of the pickup. Mm-hmm. And I also know that Guthrie's got his own pickups. Yep. Eddie Van Halen's got his own pickups with Fender. I mean, even though it's Duncan, but it's still with Fender. So, I mean, at the end of the day, Fender makes pickups that I love, I mean, they're incredible. They just know how to make everything on a guitar. I mean, they fabricate the bridges. They fabricate all kinds of stuff. You know what I mean? And so I came up with the idea to make new pickups. And I think they wanted me to just kind of think about it a little bit. You know, it wasn't one of those ideas where they just were like, yeah, okay, let's do it. But, you know, I did think about it and I spec'd it out. So I used Alnico. I'm a fan of PAFs. I like lower output pickups because I find that when you're rolling down the volume knob, you can clean up. And I don't like to necessarily go from like a heavy clean tone or a heavy lead tone, rhythm tone, and then click a foot switches to go to a clean channel of the amp. I'd rather use the volume knob on my guitar because it just makes the performance element much more seamless. And so I went with Alnico 3 magnets, overwound slightly. So there's a 9K in the bridge and 8.5 in the neck.
Nice.
And man, and we use 42 gauge wire and so somewhat traditional, but you know, we had the shorter posts so that, you know, they're not like the Les Paul posts, right?
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. And
So
and then F space.
The
Yeah, exactly. And then
Cool.
the F space so that it would line up with the you know, Fender style bridge,
Yep.
you know, or tremolo bridge or Floyd or whatever accurately, right? So those were some of the modern modifications. So, you know, they made new bobbins and because I think the EVH pickups aren't F space, if I'm not mistaken. They're not. So, but that, you know, he never changed from his original setup in the 70s, right? And I don't know if they had that back then. So, but in any case, we modernized it and we kind of made, you know, a traditional humbucking set of pickups. And it was funny because they sent me the first prototype like in a week or two. And I put them in a different guitar, right? I didn't put them in, they weren't in my signature yet. I put them in some other guitar and they sounded ridiculous. I was just like, what the heck? So they didn't really believe me. So they sent me a couple more different iterations and they were really good also, but I stuck with the first. They nailed it on the first one. And
fantastic.
And so that's what I mean. Like, that's what I mean. Working with these guys, like I can come up with ideas, right? But my ideas are only as good as whoever can execute them, right? And Charvel, man, I mean, dude, like, talk about executing, man. They're just so talented on their own accord, you know.
That is
that
cool.
You just get an idea and they go for it. Yeah. So that was pretty much the whole concept behind using the pickups. I just wanted something fresh and brand new for the guitar. You know what I'm saying? Because we worked so hard on, you know, putting these specs together and like getting it right, especially with the neck heel and a few other things that I thought it deserved its own character.
Absolutely, yeah. I was really interested when I saw the Alnico 3 as the spec because obviously lots of pickups have the 2 or the 5. So I was interested in your take. That's cool. I mean, I've been listening to Visions again. I loved it in the day. Those tones, obviously a different guitar, but there's a very fat but articulate kind of lead tone. So I was trying to guess, yeah, you're probably not a super high output pickup guy. You want to keep a lot of definition in the from the instrument itself.
Yeah, I find that the tone when the pickups are more open and like less compressed and gainy, I find that I can utilize a high gain amp in a different way.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I can actually turn the gain up on the amp without it being, you know, mud. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I think I've always preferred low output pickups. I mean, since for a long time, you know, and so for me, that's been a combination on how I get my tone, you know, is using low output pickups and high gain amps.
This episode is brought to you by Fretboard Biology, the comprehensive online guitar course put together by Joe Elliott, ex-head of guitar at the Guitar Institute of Technology and the McNally Smith College of Music. I was one of the beta testers for the course and can say as a music educator, I was really impressed by the logical sequence of learning. The course has also been endorsed by players such as Brett Garsed and Greg Howe. For more details, check out the links in our show notes. The Wilkinson Trem is a really nice addition. I love the locking at the bridge, still with a somewhat traditional 2-point original idea, but the locking looks awesome. Tell me about choosing that bridge.
Yeah, that's so that's interesting. So when, obviously I've been a Floyd guy for forever, right? And I love Floyd Rose trims. They've worked for me. They're fantastic tremolos. But I wanted the guitar aesthetically to look more traditional. I mean, I just wanted that, like I've seen some, people online comment that it doesn't look like anything different. And even though they might be throwing a dig, I'm actually appreciative of those comments because I don't want it to look like some innovative type of, guitar. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm a Strat guy, and so if it looks like a Strat, killer. It's got the right headstock. It's got very similar body. It's different body dimensions than a Strat, for sure. If you line it side by side with the Stratocaster, you'll see. I mean, it's obvious, right? But to the naked eye, if it looks something like that's been out there, that's great because that's what I was going for, right? And so having this traditional style bridge was important to me. But here's the thing: like, there wasn't one out there that I was necessarily in love with, right? I mean, the Goto 510 is great. I mean, and if set up properly, it works well. But I use the bar a lot, and so like tuning is really, it's critical, especially when using the trem. So sure. I saw this trem some years ago, I think in like 2017 or 2018. Before the signature thing came to about, Charvel installed the full trem, not just the saddles, but the full Wilkinson WVS on a custom guitar that I used kind of as a guinea pig, right? I only have one custom Charvel, right? If you can imagine, like, because I just wasn't interested in having that. Like, I wanted stock models. But the one I had, we used as a guinea pig to kind of see if things would work. And so they rerouted it and they put in this tremolo, and I loved it, right? I'm like, okay, this thing really works well, and it has the right aesthetic, and it sounds correct. And then the topper is the string changing is like way fast. Yeah. You know what I mean? You string them through, lock it down, put them through the locking tuning pegs, cut the ends, and tune. Like, it's that simple, right? And so when you combine those reasons, I think it was just the perfect bridge to use. It looks great, sounds great, it has easy string changing, tuning is phenomenal. So, I mean, it worked out for me, I'm lucky they made that bridge for me to choose,
That's awesome, man. And you got the Graphtec nut in between the two locking ends. So all good.
Yeah. They made a new nut for the guitar, a custom Graphtec nut because of the 42 millimeter spacing.
Okay.
So they actually tooled and made it, Tusk XL. They made a brand new nut for the guitar. So yeah, there's a lot of things that were not necessarily done, and they did it, and I'll tell you, I credit to Charvel. I mean, and Fender in general, like, if they believe in an idea, they make it happen. They really do. They make it happen.
Fantastic. Nice little touch, aesthetic touch is the matching headstock, which you don't really see on the Pro Mods in general. That's a little nod to maybe the Fender 60s custom colors.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that was the case. For me, if I'm going to have a modified Strat type guitar, I want it to be obvious, right? And so like having that matching headstock was, I mean, it was an absolute must. I had to do it, right? I mean, because it showed that there's something distinct about this. Like, pick it up off the wall because there is something different, and then once a person plays it, they know that the difference is right away that from a Strat, right? But that I wanted visually to have something different than the natural headstock, which I love, by the way. I love the natural look on the headstock. I think it's classic. It looks phenomenal. But I like I said, I wanted something for sure that was distinct. Nice.
Very cool. And the Inca Silver looks awesome. That's a cool, cool choice.
That's a traditional Fender color, I think, from the 60s. And I used the body and neck woods from the 60s, right? Like from 59.5 forward, alder body, maple, and rosewood. Yeah. And so I wanted to pick Inca. I've been drawn to the silver anyway, and I've had guitars Inca Silver. I have the Fender Boxer, the Japanese Fender Strat that they made, the Boxer reissue, and and that's Inca Silver.
Nice.
Right. And that's got a black headstock. But yeah, so Inca Silver, I mean, and then having it done in nitro was critical.
Also really cool. Also cool for a Charvel. Nice.
Yeah. And I wanted a clean nitro for this particular guitar. I mean, I love Relic guitars, by all means, but I wanted a clean nitro, and it's really thin. It's a thin lacquer. So like if it cracks and ages, I people should be aware of that. It's gonna,
It'll do it in a cool way. Yeah. It's
not a super thick, goopy finish. Like it's thin, and it will move and crack, like nitro's supposed to.
Very cool, man. I think the Pro Mod, it's such a cool range, and I'm super excited you've got your own twist on it, because for those of us old enough to remember the Charvels in the 80s, that's where the term super strat came from, and it was from Jackson and Charvel, who are now 100%. With Fender. So it's a souped up strat with some very custom stuff under the hood. I love that, Prashant. It must be super exciting.
Yeah, well, I spent a lot of years playing copies of super strats.
Yeah.
Companies, but to be able to like actually be with the company that invented it is pretty amazing.
That's super rad.
Pardon me.
No worries, all good. Hey, what's happening apart from launching this guitar? What are you going to do with the guitar? What projects are on your horizon? Yes,
so quite a bit on the plate. So probably tomorrow I plan on dropping a new single. So I don't know the exact date that the single's going to come out yet. I have to still work that out. I'm kind of in last minute, but tomorrow I'm going to announce it in the morning. And I've got a grip of new material that I did with Jose Pasillas, the drummer from Incubus, and Pete Griffin, who's played with Paul Gilbert, everybody, Steve Vai, and so I got a bunch of new music that I need to release that I recorded over the last few years. And so I'm going to drop all of that, in every couple of weeks. I'm going to be dropping singles, but so that's happening right away. So look out for that for sure. And then I also am slated to go in to do a full LP. Like I have enough material for like 2 records right now that I could put together and slap together. But that whole pandemic and that whole break, I just went in different directions. I mean, the stuff still sounds like me. People will hear it soon. It sounds like me, but I didn't feel the cohesion of an album from any of it, right? And so I've been writing, and I'm going in I think in about 2 months to start recording a new record completely. So I'm still writing, and I'm progressing pretty well with the writing. It's going well. And so that new record is going to be 100% recorded with the new guitar, right? Cool. All the tunings, all the things that I do. And I'm really going to make a concerted effort. Obviously, one guitar that I'm going to incorporate is a telly. I always put a telly on all my rhythms on one side or another. But other than that, I'm pretty much going to exclusively use the PA-28. And then I've linked up with Premier Guitar, and we're going to be launching a bunch of material on their platform. So excellent. I'm not entirely sure the exact dates, but I've already started working on a new series for them. And it's super exciting. I mean, it's going to be a ton of original material that I'll write for the series. And it's like at least a dozen videos and playing music all on the Premier Guitar platform. So that's cool. That's awesome. Going to take up some time because it's a pretty substantial project.
Is that instructional material?
No, it's not at all. There's nothing instructional about it. It's actually original compositions that I'm writing for the purposes of like a concept. Okay. I'm not really sure how much I can divulge at the moment.
Stay tuned.
But I can say that I'm working with Premier Guitar officially on this, and cool. It's just cool. It came at the right time, and I've known those guys, and so it's all kind of working out, where. And then it's all videos too. So it's music and videos that I'm doing. And so people will be able to hear the guitar in real action, coming up here, like real shortly,
Excellent.
I think I start work on that like end of next week. I'm going to start.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
So lots of cool stuff coming up. That's brilliant. So Premier Guitar, we'll look out for your record. What's the best place to know what's going on with you, Prashant?
Probably just social media. I mean, Instagram is the best, I would say. And that's Prashant Aswani official. And then, I'll just announce stuff there, and I got to revamp my website. It's totally antiquated and old. I haven't even touched it in forever, but I mean, whatever. I mean, I just think, Instagram's probably the best way to get in touch with me in terms of like what's going on. And I'm responsive too. Like I try to get back to anybody who gets in touch with me on IG. So, and keep up with that. So that's probably the best way. And then all my new music will have links,
Yep. Awesome.
I'll make sure and drop them. And then my Facebook page, unfortunately got hacked like a month or two ago. And so I had to start over with that. Man. And that's Prashant Aswani on my Facebook. So if people want to go check it out and follow me, that'd be great. Because I had like ridiculous number to it's starting over is hard. But I don't really care too much because, I'm not, social media for me is like it's a secondary type of thing. It's really, working is in creating the music is really primary. Even though I know it's incredibly important, in terms of letting people know what's going on. My Instagram's still going strong. And so I'll just, I'll keep it there for sure. And then as the other stuff develops, it'll be great.
Great, man. Yeah, your Insta's awesome. Just lots of playing, lots of cool stuff there. So people should definitely check that out.
Yeah, no complaints. I just came back into town yesterday. I did another 4 series for Jam Play's True Fire Jam Play. That's instructional stuff. Yep. So that'll be a bunch of stuff will be dropping this year with them. And I think it's under True Fire because that's the main. They own it. So so it'll all be under that umbrella if they go and check it out.
Oh, cool. Oh man, another avenue to see what you're doing there. That's great.
Yeah. I mean, I believe in doing the instructional thing. And I've been fortunate to work with Jam Play for like almost 10 years, relatively exclusively. And not for any reason except for it's just been a good, we had a good system, going. So, but True Fire is where it's going now. So, that's a whole new chapter for the future. But yeah, so yeah. Have you gotten a chance to pick up the guitar yet?
No, not yet. I'll be looking out.
I'd be curious. When you do, just let me know what you think. Drop me a line.
For sure. All the specs, it really speaks to me. I'm into low output, 22 frets. Like this thing, it's a 60s strat, but it's got modern stuff like yours. So yeah,
100%.
I'm thinking this is my kind of guitar guy. So anyway.
Well, just to let you know, it's got an HSH route underneath.
Yeah.
So you can make it an HSS pickguard.
Yeah, right. Cool. So
if that's what you prefer, because I see the HSS in the back there, a couple of them.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. They're the main dogs.
Yeah. So if you want to do that, it's really easy. You just get a pickguard stamped out and, install the pickup that's there or whatever you want, really. That's another thing that I wanted for sure is I wanted to be able, people to be able, if they do want to modify it in terms of pickup combination, that it would be no problem. I don't want people messing with it, but at the same time, I know how I am. And so if I might even do it, I might go SSS on one of these, just to have, because it's important,
Nice, man. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, again, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Of course, man. Appreciate
all the best. And I'll keep following and I'll try and check out one of these guitars myself and definitely shoot you a line. I know Brett Kingman, that fellow Australian, I think he's ordered one, I read somewhere. So
I think he's got one.
He's got it now. Yeah. Awesome.
I think so. I saw he was pretty excited about it.
Yeah. Cool, man.
Yeah,
I'll chase that up. He's great. He's like the original gangster in Australia for all this review stuff. So
That's killer, man. I can't. Well, yeah, I'm excited to see what people think. I mean, so far so good. Like I said, I'm surprised how quickly people are getting it. You know, it's
cool.
It's an interesting, interesting experience. It's brand new, really. I mean, this thing, and Fender's done such an amazing job with, you know, promoting it and making sure that all the stores have one, you know, like that want one, you know. So, I mean, you know, listen, it's as good as the machine, and a lot of credit goes to Charvel and Fender for just really, I mean, they're just really pro, man.
All right, there you go. Prashant Aswani on the Guitar Speak podcast. So good to meet him, and cool to talk about the new Charvel PA28. I am very keen to go and check one out. Encourage you to do the same. Many thanks to the nice people at Fender, Jack at Fender Australia, Alex and Michael at Fender USA for helping coordinate this conversation. Jack was instrumental in me speaking with Guthrie Govan about this time last year. So please check out that episode if you haven't heard it already. We were talking about Guthrie's latest incarnation of his Charvel signature series. So yeah, if you're a Charvel fan, plenty of other cool stuff to check out on the podcast. My big thanks to Joe and Todd at Fretboard Biology, have been supporting this show for over 2 years. Really appreciate those guys, and the course itself is excellent. As I said in earlier spots, I've checked it out. I was a beta tester, and encourage you to check out those links in my show notes to Fretboard Biology. All right, my name is Matt Wakeling. Time for me to go. Thanks for coming and listening to the Guitar Speak podcast. Now, every week, as many of you know, I like to leave you with the words of wisdom that Michael Schenker dropped on us in episode number 150. The guitarist from UFO, the Scorpions, and the Michael Schenker Group. He told us,
keep rocking, keep on rocking.
Keep on rocking indeed. I'll catch you next time. Bye now.